This is the plaintiff, Norman Daves. He says he agreed to buy and paid cash, which was half the purchase price of a 2000 Mercedes convertible, and the defendant sold the car out from under him to someone else. He has no idea what got into the double-crossing defendant, and no matter what he does, he can't get him to refund his hard-earned $1,000, so he's suing. This is the defendant, innocent and where? He says the plaintiff must be off his rocker or something, because he told him he wanted to buy a van instead of a Mercedes. He held the Mercedes for 2 months for the wishy-washy guy. Can't believe he actually had the nerve to sue him, but most definitely owes him nothing. He's accused of making a Mercedes disappear. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $314 for the balance due on the van.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says he bought a 2000 Mercedes convertible, and the guy he bought it from after giving the deposit sold it to somebody else, can't get his deposit back. But the defendant saying that the plaintiff is the one who screwed him over. It's the case of the Mercedes buyer who flipped his top.
Okay, thank you. Norman Daves?
Yes.
You are suing Greenlight Auto Sales, represented by Innocent Unware.
Yes.
You're the owner? Okay, for $1,000, $500 of it money that you paid towards the purchase of a Mercedes, and $500 of it for travel expenses. Yes. Okay, and you are suing for counterclaiming him $314 for the balance owed on a van that he bought.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, okay, on March the 4th, I went in to take a look at a vehicle that I like. He had a Mercedes-Benz and a Ford Econoline, which I needed both. So I told him that I would purchase both. And when we put the receipt together, both of the vehicles was to be financed.
Okay.
Meaning the van was worth $2,300. The Mercedes was $4,500. Financed together, that was $67, and he charged me another $2,000 for the finance fee. When I gave him the deposit,
$2,000 for the finance fee. You mean $2,000 in interest over the course of several years, or do you mean a fee?
Just a $2,000 fee, I guess, to go along with the finance. I guess I'll be paying it along the way.
Not understand.
Yeah, both cars, he financed both of them. I charged them.
Do you have the agreement, the finance agreement? Let me just see
it's just
that.
the receipt. It's not a finance agreement.
How do you not have a finance agreement? I'm not understanding. What was what were you guys doing?
Well, what he was doing, he was buying an in-house payment, in-house finance. So
yes, I understand. So what kind of interest were you charging him?
30% interest for
30%.
Yes, for him to make a payment plan on the vehicle. Because he doesn't have the money he didn't have the money to buy the vehicle outright.
Wait, you were charging him 30% in interest?
Yes.
Are you allowed to do that?
Yes, I am.
You're not under usury laws?
Yes, I have my license here to be able to charge an interest.
Right.
Yes.
Let me see what you are doing there. Now, so you say price breakdown. Did you just make this up for court, or was this something he signed?
It was the breakdown that I gave him.
Did you see this then?
No, actually,
Did you have him sign a finance agreement, yes or no?
What we have was just bill of sale.
Why wouldn't you have a guy sign a finance agreement if that's what he agreed to? That explains everything.
On the bill of sale stated that I'm charging him interest, 30% interest for both vehicles. He stated right there, and he signed after reading it.
Your bill of sale doesn't even say how much each car costs.
It did. I explained to him that.
Not you explained to him. Does your bill of sale say how much each car costs, or does it lump them together?
I lumped everything together, but I had everything.
Okay, but had you done a bill of sale that's a little more explicit, how much would each car, according to you, have cost?
Yes. The Mercedes-Benz was for $4,500. And the van was for $2,200.
Okay, that's what you said also, right?
Yes.
Okay, so good. So we don't have an argument about that. Now, on March 4th, when you all signed this, do you take the van and the Mercedes?
On March 4th, I never took the van. What I did was leave a deposit.
Okay, hold on. March 4th, you paid $500.
Yes.
March 5th, you paid $1,000.
Yes.
April 12th, you paid $700. Oh, March 20th, you stapled them out of order. Okay, so on 3/24, we missed one, and that was $500, right?
Right.
Okay, so right now you're $500 over if you had just bought the van.
Right.
All right. So let's get this straight then. By April 12th, when he gets the van, is the following statement true? He has overpaid for the van by $500.
No.
Why not?
The total payment.
I know what the total payment is, but in the end, you sold a Mercedes to somebody else and you released him from buying the Mercedes. So is it true that on April 12th, when he picked up when you finally gave him the van, he has in fact paid $2,700? Let's do it that way. Is that accurate?
No,
yes or no? Has he paid $2,700?
Yes, he did pay $2,700.
It is accurate that on April 12th, when you finally released the van to him, he's paid $2,700.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. When do you find out that he says, I can't afford the Mercedes, something you should have thought through beforehand? Right? Who were you buying the Mercedes for?
Me.
No, you weren't. You were buying it for your fiance.
Yeah.
Who's no longer your fiance at that point?
No, she's still.
You guys
my
break
fiance.
up?
Nah, we still.
She doesn't deserve the Mercedes? What happened? Why are
we still. What happened? Actually, when I went back to get the Mercedes, the first week I went back after I picked the van up, he told me that they had to do something with the title. There was something wrong with the title. So, okay. Following week, I didn't see the car.
Who decided how much you'd have to put down? But financing means he takes the car and then he makes payments afterwards. That's what financing means. So who decided? Because really what you're doing is you're just holding the cars for him until he pays them off. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
why hadn't you given him the Mercedes and the van on March 4th if you financed them on March 4th?
What he was making is an in-house payment. He wanted me to.
Then why are you charging him?
He wanted me
to hold the cars?
For me to.
So you're charging him $2,000 to hold these two cars?
I was holding the cars for 2 months. Over those 2 months, those were income tax.
Yeah, but he's not driving the cars. When you finance something, is that how you finance it? Or when you finance it, you take it? And then you pay on it?
He making a payment. He wanted me to keep the car.
He wanted you to keep the car?
So that he could make a payment on the car.
I would understand you if you had given him the van on March 4th. I'd look at him and say, dude, you drove a van around for a month and a half that you couldn't afford to pay for. Exactly. That's what financing is. Take it like a man. What I don't understand is how he's supposed to take it like a man and finance something that you didn't give him until he'd paid $500 more than it.
Exactly.
That's the part I don't understand. You know?
That's what he agreed on.
Well, I don't know, because you don't have it in writing here. What you have in writing is a total amount of something you, not me, released him of. You released him of buying the Mercedes. In fact, according to you, he sold the Mercedes out from under you.
Exactly.
You say, just a moment.
He didn't even call me.
You say he didn't even call you, he just sold the Mercedes.
Exactly.
Your Honor, that's a lie.
Okay, hold on. When did you sell the Mercedes?
The Mercedes, I sold the Mercedes on first week of May.
Do you have the paperwork so I can see?
No, I don't have the.
So you can't prove you sold it the first week of May. Tell me when you say he sold it.
Well, actually, that second week when I came back and made that last payment, and I didn't. Actually, I saw it that Sunday before I even got it rolled past me.
Okay.
And then I went.
Okay,
I
so
saw
on
it that
April
Sunday.
12th, when you made the last payment, the car was gone?
Exactly.
So why did you make the payment?
I didn't. I made the pay. I didn't even know it was gone. When I made that payment.
Well, then you're a liar because you just said you saw it roll past you 3 days earlier.
No. Before I made the payment on the 12th, I didn't see it on the 12th. The last payment was the 12th.
Right, of April.
But that last payment was when I made that payment and I took the van, I told him I was going to be back the following, maybe 2 weeks. Was that the 16th, the 17th?
That's not 2 weeks. That's 5 days after the 12th.
Exactly. That Sunday, I saw the car roll past me. That Monday, I came to, find out what was going on. He said, I think he wasn't even there. It was another guy that he said, I think he sold it. So I said, I think I need my money.
Right.
And so,
Your Honor, that's a lie.
And you say that's a lie. What happened?
Would you buy a 2000 Mercedes convertible for $7,000?
Yes, I would.
You wouldn't be scared a little bit that it's 13 years old?
No.
How about you, ma'am?
No, I wouldn't.
Why?
I don't think it's really worth it. You can buy.
What would you pay it for?
I have no idea.
We're going to go inside the courtroom.
He told me that he honestly, if I want to sell the car, the Mercedes Benz, I could go ahead and sell it.
Okay.
That he understands.
All right, so you agreed to sell the Mercedes. And by the way, how much did you sell the Mercedes for?
I sold the Mercedes for $5,000.
Okay, so it was great for you. So now I want you to explain to me why you don't give the guy back that last $500 when you didn't give him the van until it was fully paid for.
He didn't pay. He didn't finish
There
paying
is
for the
no
van.
explanation. Give the man back his $500. Now, how did you make a $500 lawsuit into $1,000? I want to know what growth hormones you're giving your lawsuit that turns it from $500 to double that size. What is it? Amount owed for travel expenses.
Yes.
What travel expenses? You're the guy who has to travel there to pay it. Oh, the travel expenses of not having the Mercedes.
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny. You didn't have the Mercedes before that.
Exactly, but that's the reason why I was buying it, so I could get around.
It's just silly.
I couldn't get back and forth.
Then buy something else with the money you weren't paying him. You
Well,
were allowed to you didn't have to pay him the additional 7,000, 6,000, whatever it was. Now you use that money to buy a car.
Yeah, as long as you
go
give me
away.
that
$500 verdict for the plaintiff on your counterclaim 0.
Thank you.
All right, so the 500 goes to the plaintiff, and the defendant right here totally looks like you tried to keep his $500 there.
No, he agreed to pay for $3,014 for the van. So I charged him interest, 30% interest for the van, so which he didn't conclude.
Well, you just lost your case in there, so what are you thinking about that?
That wasn't a fair trial.
You weren't able to convince the judge.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
It's fair, but you lost.
I guess.
Okay. All right. Okay. Follow Officer McIntosh right around the corner there. Okay. All right. So come on in here and good. So the judge says you tried to steroid up your little lawsuit there too.
Yeah, well, hey,
That
I
didn't
do
work
try
out.
to get all I can.
Well, at least you're honest.
Inconvenience.
Inconvenience fee.
Yes.
You have an inconvenience fee?
Yes, always.
All right. So you're satisfied at least coming out with?
Yeah, at least.
You could have got nothing.
Yeah.
You got 500. That's good.
Yeah. Well, at least I can go try to give me another car now.
All right. Good. Harvey?
You know, when you buy a car, you have to know the terms. And if the seller doesn't have a written contract, I am telling you, you got to trust me here. Demand a written contract so you know your rights.